This episode of Bonfireside Chat is brought to you by our Patreon backers. If you go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, you can find out all about them and the awesome rewards you get for supporting us. Also wanted to make a quick note that we were experiencing some Skype problems with this episode. I did my best to cut out all of the overtalk and such, but you're going to hear a lot of that little podcasty minor interruptions. I made like 20 or 30 edits to cut them out. It's no one's fault. It's just Skype being a terrible program. So this podcast is brought to you by Patreon, but brought to you not by or against Skype. So sorry about that, and hopefully it does not interfere with your enjoyment. And enjoy the show.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
No, I don't have anything against humans. But how is it that you go about defining good and evil? I'm only using what the gods gave me. How can that be so wrong? So what say you to a spot of murder on my behalf?
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
And I'm Alex Eich.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is a cursed favorite.
And this week we were talking about Aldia's Keep, the Dragon's Aerie, and the Dragon's Shrine. And as you heard, we're joined by Alex Eich, the writer behind and the mind behind the Blighttown, what is it, the Baron?
Beacon.
The Blighttown Beacon, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's all in quotes. That's all in like that's all in ironic quotes. Yeah.
But tell for people who may not be familiar, tell us a little bit about the Blighttown Beacon.
The best way to describe it is basically the Onion set in the universe of Dark Souls. That's basically it.
Yeah, it is super funny. I recommend it.
Yeah.
Lots of. It's kind of interesting. Like when I first found the blog. One of the things that we do when we're coming up with goofs and spoofs on this show is we're just finding kind of pulling on these threads of absurdity that are inherent in video games. Like, oh, that's silly. How does this person really do this? And we'll joke about that. And that's kind of the same thing that you're doing, just in like a different format. You know, so it'll be through like a news story, but still the kind of, what is actual daily life like? And this, like, I remember specifically like the Blighttown episode where we kept talking about like, who lives like this? Like that was we got a lot of mileage out of that. And then there'll be kind of little nods to those little lived in world detail things on the blog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the most part, I try and like keep it within the universe. But if I'm like really straining for ideas, like some of the best stuff comes when I mix other video game worlds into Dark Souls, just to see what happens. And like I did an entire beacon with like detailing the plot of Red versus Blue, but with the Blue Sentinels and the Brotherhood of Blood. As the two sides.
Did they send one of them out for torch fluid, which I guess would just be butane?
I think I had at least one blue guy talk about how someone's mother was a cow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there.
It's the Beacon verse is rapidly expanding. So but thank you again for joining us. And thanks for joining us on these episodes, which are among me and Cole's favorites, and listeners will find out if they're among your favorites.
Yeah.
Cole, what did we do last time?
Well, previously we were told that the cure to the curse was in the Shrine of Amana. That was a lie. We were also told that finding Vendrick and the Undead Crypt would fulfill our quest. This was also a lie. And now, at the Herald's request, we head east to a mysterious mansion on a hill.
And is it a lie? We'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll find out within. So the first place is Aldia's Keep, which is this is where Vendrick he condemned his brother to the mansion. The two of them founded Drengleic together, and both there's kind of conflicting sources. One item says that Vendrick banished him, and one says that Aldia lost interest. It reminds me of like a breakup. kind of thing. Like, oh, we both broke up, or it was a mutual decision. And then, but they both were trying to kind of find the truth and find out the secrets behind this curse, and kind of took different approaches to it.
Aldia is kind of the John, I think. He's more of a John than a Paul.
I'm just thinking like the mad scientist at the beginning of like the Robot Chicken opening.
Oh yeah.
Like that's Aldia, while Vendrick is trying to find like the humane approach to everything.
Or they're like Rick and Morty. Like just together, like Aldia is like Rick. I was gonna say that one of them is like a John Linnell and one of them is like a John Flansburgh, but that's not, because Aldia is definitely the Linnell of the group. It's fun. The dark experimenter. But you go through this, like we've been seeing all these doors that say, you have to become more kingly. And most, like one of them, or most of them go to areas that are not as significant as this and not as long a spoke.
Right.
And a lot of them all of the other ones, you can't do anything yet. If you go to them, you have to go to this one first. But this opens up a whole new area. And we talked about it last time when you and I were just like, this game just keeps going. Like Aldia's Keep was the moment where I thought like, yeah, like this just keeps giving, like, because as we'll soon find out, I think it is awesome. And also I was expecting the game to end when you find Vendrick.
What's funny is this keeps, I hear this casually characterized as an optional area by some people when they're kind of talking about it, like it kind of gets lumped in with something like the Great Hollow or Ash Lake. But it's actually mandatory if you want to see at the ending of the game.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. It's because it feels like a little bit of an optional area.
Yeah.
Just like being in it, and it is so far away from everything else. It's not associated with a separate kingdom, There's no like the Aldia Crown DLC, which would be rad, but it doesn't exist.
Aldia's graduated cylinder.
Yeah.
We can only hope. I would do Aldia's Aldia is just like Cap, like his nightcap, his cabbie hat.
Yeah.
But
before the DLC was announced, I thought that the DLC has to revolve around Aldia somehow, because he's everything in this game basically.
Yeah. I think so too, and he's become a little bit of because Kole, you keep joking like an Aldia did it whenever we see something out of place, and that is like a little bit bothersome. But his fingerprints are everywhere, and the cool part about this when you first go to it, like when you're kind of taking the long view of the game, it becomes a little bit annoying, I think, because it is such a convenient explanation for all these disparate things. But when I first got here and I was like, oh shit, like I'm seeing everything that I'd seen before, but in a new context, and there's an intentionality behind it and stuff. Like these things I just thought were monsters, like, oh, that's not the case. Like it was really awesome and mind blowing the first time. But there's just not, like, it does kind of lend itself to the weird, like the enemy placement and stuff in Dark Souls 2 that, like, despite all of my love for Dark Souls 2, I think is a little bit weaker than the other Souls games in that. Like there's a little bit like less of a clear sense of identity to the places based on their ecology.
Yeah.
Than their games.
Yeah, you're right. I think the word you used that really resonated was convenience there, actually.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this, and this is, I think, a little bit supported by the fact that, a lot of the pregame, like the pre-release footage centered around Aldia's. This feels a little bit like a showpiece, almost like it would be a vertical slice or an artifact from some earlier form of the an earlier iteration of the game, in that it does feel out of place, not like in a terrible way, but in a way that does kind of just put a little bit too nice of a bow on everything, that they just happen to lift every other part of the game up and whatever was loose rolled here.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It is.
Plus, you just got getting to the undead crypt. You think that's like the climax of the game, and it's like, where do you go from what you think, what your expectations are the highest, and then it's like, oh, we're going to this abandoned mansion thing.
Like, and in that respect, I think it actually worked for me in that, because like I was, we talked about last episode how awesome the Vendrick gut punch was, and this individual area, specifically the keep and the kind of the showpieces and the shock and awe that comes, like I thought was pretty effective for being after such a quiet moment. Like I really, really, if I deconnect my like part of my brain that's trying to connect all the dots in the lore, love this area as an individual place.
Oh God, yeah.
Like it is one of my favorites, in a Souls game at all. like if you're not taking it holistically, like just this crazy mansion, like it's something they've never done before. It has these kind of shades of what is it?
Did the Duke's Archives?
Duke's Archives or Tower of Latria.
Yeah.
To it, like just like a madman's, twisted science experiment kind of thing, where he's people have been imprisoned.
Mixed with all the Scooby-Doo side rooms.
Yeah. Yep. It's super Scooby-Doo with all the masked guys behind the paintings and stuff. But I just like that does it for me. Like I've said it before, man. Like I love a monster zoo. Like you give me a place where people are putting monsters on display. It's like my favorite thing. So in a way, this works on me really, really hard. And that initial view that you get when you first come in really contributes to that, because it doesn't look like a Souls game location to me.
No.
Like which was cool. Like I like it when they do new things, and it's the one thing about that last kind of bullshit optional area, the latest DLC, that like the point I'll give it, despite the fact that it is bullshit, is that it's never been done before. Yeah. Like, and I appreciate that. Like, I like it when they branch out and do kind of, it's the same reason why I like the Black Gulch so much. Like, I feel like they hadn't really done that before.
Yeah. Like this, the keep from the outside looks like a scrapped Resident Evil setting. Yeah. Yeah. And it could be like it, like the, and it resonates that way on the inside too. It's like super dangerous. Like when you first get here, you have these like kobolds, and their petrify adjust is amazing. Oh yeah. Like this is the only time I've ever died to petrify is by these guys. Well, they outnumber you so badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're incredibly hard to hit. This is the first time we've seen them since Things Betwixt, right?
Yeah. And the first time they've been aggressive.
Yes. So I got petrified here as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was the only time that I would ever kill myself on purpose just so I could talk to Novlon. And I would use those.
It's cool that they give you that cool way to do it, so you get to see your character as a cool statue form.
Yeah.
Before you do it. Yeah. Weirdly, like these guys drop really, really great gear.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like these guys used to be, and we know that Aldia invited people to his home and turned them into monsters. From item descriptions, and like if in Dark Souls 1 I would believe that that's what these guys were. In Dark Souls 2 I'm not as sure. Like I feel like the spiders like dropped halberds and stuff, and so it feels more like less intentional, the item drops for these guys.
Yeah, specifically they drop Black Knight gear, which is crazy out of place, and all that I can think of is if this has anything to do with the with like the Ash Lake, like we imagine Things Betwixt is this in between realm where everything can kind of get linked by these arch trees or whatever. That would be the only thing, is if these were brought here, that explains it, kind of, in a very canned wavy kind of way.
Or like when you're a badass Black Knight, if you go through the dimension to Drink Lake, you turn into one of these gibbering jabronis.
Like Link in the Dark World?
Yeah, exactly. These are like the Bunny Link versions. But
yeah. You also have a Mimic here completing your dark set.
Yeah.
Which I totally got chomped on by, because I forgot about on this playthrough.
You don't often see Mimics like outside like this.
Yeah.
And the treasure chest is already really hidden and guarded. So it's not often that they have redundant defenses like that.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Yeah, if the kobolds don't kill you, the Mimic will.
That's what they always say about old Aldias. If the kobolds don't kill you, Mimic will. We save a seat for there's a light on for you. And we've been talking about it, like circling around it for many, many episodes, but this is the end of Lucatiel's quest line. And we kind of talked about how we were going to get to her in total at this point, and this is where she climaxes, and she is the NPC that has a meaningful climax, I feel like. Benhart, you can complete his quest line, but there's not that much to it.
Right.
Lucatiel, though, is supposed to be, is kind of the emotional core of the game.
Yeah.
As far as people you interact with. And she's in a hut.
Yeah, I mean, I just found the entire ending of Lucatiel's quest line was 50% completely tragic and 50% hilarious for reasons I'll get to later.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that she is super sad. Like the idea, like I love she has this little bit of dialogue, and if I'm feeling ambitious, I'll cut it in, where she talks about, like the scariest thing for her, it would be to remember or to not remember. And like that loss of a sense of self is a really mature and resonant theme.
Yeah.
You know, for me. And I really, really like that about her. Like it's not as complicated as like, you know, the quest lines from Dark Souls 1.
Right.
But it is, it's still like her as just a sad lady who was seeking her brother and just kind of went crazy from this curse. Has some power.
Yeah. And it's, you know, curious as to whether or not she found what she was looking for and lost hope because of that, or if she, you know, lost hope right before, because right after this, Astathiel, her brother, invades.
Yeah.
Not to usher us along, but that's a real part of the story.
Yeah.
And that's the 50% hilarious part.
Yeah. What, that she didn't find her brother? Oh.
Well, it's like her entire quest and her entire reason of just being is to try and find her brother, and she goes hollow literally 30 fucking feet away from him.
Yeah. Like just walk a little bit further, babe.
It was just a giant "are you shitting me" type of moment.
Well, like what you mentioned though, it could be true that she went in, found that her brother had already, you know, her brother is hollowed. And is attacked, and actually like came back dejected. Like this could be her on the way back.
Yeah,
you know, it kind of points her in a less idiotic light.
Or she went in, found out her brother was an extremely shitty invader, and then got so depressed she went hollow back out.
Yeah. He just kept grab nabbing her, getting her. He has a really really low drop sword that's supposed to be really good that I've never got. Because I don't farm things, but he's supposed to have this really amazing sword.
How
that is like a version of the one that she gives him, but it's different or better in some way.
How would you farm an invasion?
Bonfire aesthetics.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh. So you end up getting like Aldia's keep up to like bonfire plus 7, you know, which sounds like a nightmare as well.
Yeah, I have no idea about that sword just because I have the collector's guide, and looking at those two swords next to each other in the back of the book, they're the exact same.
I thought one of them, this could be wrong. I thought I'd seen something on YouTube.
Idea.
I could be wrong about this. I thought I saw something on YouTube that one of them is like a dex-based greatsword or scaled with dex, which I think was more significant before the DLCs came out. I could be wrong about that, though. I could be misremembering.
They are both CA and strength dex scaling.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah, I think that's both of them.
Just for collectors.
And their moveset's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like it's unique for a greatsword.
Yeah,
and they both have the same the same damage ratings as well. Same durability, same weight, same stability.
Yeah, it's just for collectors. It's just a trophy. So my bad.
Yeah. Oh well.
Or my fine. Like I don't feel bad about that.
Like you
I misremembered something from like the hundreds of Dark Souls YouTubes I watch. Whoopie fucking do.
Yeah. So not to dwell on Lucatiel, but I mean the comparison to Solaire shouldn't be lost, right? You know, she has been your constant companion throughout, and if you trace one of the possible endings for Solaire's quest line, he finds what he's looking for, but it's false, right?
Yeah.
He ends up getting the sunlight bug attached to his head, and kind of like thinks he's undergone this apotheosis, right? Whereas Lucatiel either does find and it was false and didn't embrace it, and thus fades away. So like it's whether or not you're willing to embrace the lie, right?
Right, or it could be just in contrast where she gives up just slightly before Solaire does. So it's either she found the lie. Or if she, is not quite as strong as Solaire.
Right.
That's kind of the point, because that was the whole thing with Solaire was his, abominable spirit in the face of everyone laughed at him because he's a dingus.
Yeah.
So, but it's sad.
Our lovable dingus.
Hey, I love the big guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy. And if you do her quest line, she gives you her gear.
Right.
Without you having to murder her to get in.
Yeah, to get one of the snazziest hats in the game.
Yeah, which I don't know.
Souls.
Yeah, you can get because the hat has that mask attached to it. In one of the later DLCs, you can get the hat just by itself.
Ooh,
which is sweet because that mask is creepy. It's me.
Yeah.
It makes my guy look like he looks like, it makes him look like an anonymous guy. Like every time I look at it, I think of the Guy Fawkes mask. And
The Guy Fawkes mask.
Yeah. It just, like Reddit invades Aldia's keep. Yeah.
Oh, man. I love this hallway that you fight Astatil in as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has those stagecoaches, right?
Yeah, Demon Souls reference.
Yep. Do you know what's inside those stagecoaches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basilisks.
Yeah.
Sweet basilisks. And they're hard to open.
Yeah, I've never had them break. I remember the first time I saw them, I immediately went into like panic mode because it's the fucking stagecoaches from Demon Souls. So I was
Which also don't
walking
break.
back and forth. Yeah, I was walking back and forth waiting for something to jump out and attack me. And then I said, fuck it, nothing's going to happen. And I went through the door and oops.
Yeah. Well, the only way they can be broken is by an enemy, and if they break, they stay broken. So if this next thing that I don't want to casually mention because I want to talk about it more because it's great, ends up breaking one open, it stays broken. So if you end up dying, there's always going to be some basilisks hanging out here. I wonder if you can lure the ogre to this front area and open any of these.
I don't know. I wonder how long his tether is.
Yeah. What his leash is. But yeah, let's talk about this next thing.
Or why you would ever unpetrify that ogre to begin with.
Because he has a cool mask, I think. I mean, I don't do it. But that's why somebody might. Or you just like fighting ogres because you're a weirdo. But this next thing, you go into this hallway and there's just this amazing, like one of my favorite visuals in any of the Souls games ever. This dragon skeleton kind of comfortably lounging on the staircase.
Lazily draped.
Yeah, just like on a Shea lounge. Like, I've been waiting here for 40 years.
Hungover.
These cold Aldia winters give me the horribles.
I get the horribles from Aldia.
Carl's face down in the front of Aldia's keep again, drunk.
Carl the skeleton dragon.
More of a man of sinners than grave of saints.
Yeah.
But to me, they all look good. Okay, can we just say every Gilbert line?
Yeah, and only attribute them to skeletal dragon.
Yeah.
And we can spread this across Watcher Fireballs because someday we'll do a Final Fantasy where you fight some nonsense necro dragon, and we just gotta it's a callback waiting to happen.
a cross network call. Well, we've done it before. Okay.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Yep.
We're still the same people.
I know.
Regardless of what show we're doing. But yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. I really, really wish I hadn't had it spoiled for me.
Oh, why? How did you have it spoiled for you?
And all of like I said, and on the preview coverage.
Oh.
I mean, it was my choice to watch that, but they led with it so hard.
Yeah. It's I mean, I love this. I love it as a set piece. I just hate how it awkwardly fades away when it's done.
Yeah,
because in the preview footage, it stayed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it just stayed broken everywhere, and I like that a lot better instead of just the awkward video gamey just vanishing skeleton.
Like, we need this ram back.
Yeah. And also, since it actually does lunge towards you, I could see them just not wanting to keep this big immobile, thing because maybe it would lunge in a way that blocks off actual progress.
Yeah.
Since you do have some kind of agency over which way it attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is disappointing, and it would be like 1,000% more metal. And the area is already real metal if it just kept the giant dragon skeleton. Also, if I was Aldia, I'd be mad that you made my awesome hall decoration disappear.
Yeah.
Like this is great. Like, I would brag about having this house. I wouldn't abandon it. I'd be scared no ghost.
Where the fuck did Carl go?
Yeah, exactly. You killed Carl.
I love the idea of Aldia keeping this dragon around as a snack. Like, this is his food supply. Like, Vendrick was, I'm going to seal you off in here. Only this dragon to eat.
to understand the dragon, you must eat it.
Yes.
It's like a...
Well, thinking about, the preview footage, I think the way that the dragon fell apart, it would fall apart more on the stairs, if I remember from the preview footage, which then blocks off that one stairway, so you'd be forced to unpetrify the ogre.
Mm.
Oh, okay. That almost makes sense if that was an intentional thing. They want you to have to go through the ogre. They'd have to give you a friggin' Breath of Yore, real close to here, but that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Navlin though.
Yeah.
We're like on a real series of highs here for a little while. We got Lucatiel's ending. We got this dragon. We got Navlin.
Yeah. Oh man. I didn't get to do Navlin's quest my first time through.
I didn't either because I pulled the fucking lever.
Me too.
So you don't get to tell me what to do.
If you see a hallway with a bunch of developer notes that say, hey, don't touch this lever, the first thing I'm going to do is fucking pull the lever.
Yeah. Don't touch this button. I mean,
Yeah. No, I've got a big, shiny, candy-like button.
Yeah.
This beautiful red, huge button.
Yeah. Has
yeah.
Ren and Stimpy taught us nothing?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm going to pull the lever. And so I didn't even know there was more to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just went over and talked to him. He said something real creepy.
Yeah.
And then I just kept getting super invaded for like the rest of the game by somebody who could like one-shot me with hexes because my first build was not very good. And I wasn't good at the game. And just like, what the fuck? I connected them, but not strongly enough to like really like, oh, I let this guy go. Like, that's so cool. That's so good.
Yeah. Like you let him loose and he says, you're going to live to rue the day. I'm out. Also, I'm going to spend all my time tracking my new mark. Mwaha, mwaha, mwaha.
Yeah. Who's Mark? Like,
is he a friend of Carl's?
Yeah. And then he just gets stabbed in the back by hexes.
Yeah.
But so Navlin rules. He's the royal sorcerer. There's a lot of like fan theories out there that this is actually Aldia.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that, but a lot of people say that.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
Yeah. It doesn't seem necessary to me. Like it seems like it could make sense, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
It's just there's a future theory down the line in these levels that is just much stronger on who Aldia is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, which
wink, nudge, nudge.
I also kind of don't buy that one, but I think that is stronger than this one.
Yeah.
And much for the same reason. Like it's just kind of like, I can see it, but I just don't think it's like logically or it's necessary. It is weird that Aldia doesn't. If neither of those theories are true, Aldia does not show up in game, which is super weird. And I get why that creates a narrative vacuum that has to be filled. I guess I just don't love either of them. Just on my gut level, but Navlin, who is
well, if neither are true, then it's obvious that Aldia is Carl.
Exactly. If not, then Carl.
Yeah. There's a theory that pops up in the appendix for this episode, but that he's Olenford, the sorcerer who you find his staff down in the crypt.
Oh,
like just that links him. But Navlan and the person that you see are two different entities.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah. Navlin has, he's kind of got this multiple personality thing going on. He's also like there's a part of him that is like a sentient sorcery. Isn't there an item description that says that like he has a sorcery that has come to life?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the kind of the mechanical thing with this guy is if you talk to him while you're human, he does the werewolf locked up in jail overnight thing where he's just like, don't let me go. Have I said anything strange? Leave me alone. Don't let me out. And then, if you do let him out, he hunts you down in multiple locations, and he keeps doing it. Like, he's relentless. If you talk to him about Hollow, though, you open up a really cool quest, which, again, is another Demon Souls reference.
Yeah.
2 of them in the span of, 3 minutes of playtime.
Yeah. And that quest...
It's a fantastic quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That quest specifically, it is a nod to the Mephistopheles quest that I imagine very few people happen upon naturally in Demon Souls. We talked about it in that season of the show, but he places hits on different people, different NPCs throughout the game, and asks you to bring back artifacts of theirs as proof.
And this quest line is hilarious because you don't actually have to hit anybody to complete it.
It's like the Assassin's quests in Oblivion.
Yeah,
if you can find a creative alternate way, you can just totally trick them.
It's so much better than the Mephistopheles one too, because like I did that and that was pretty disappointing. Like almost all of the marks were literally like just downstairs from her, and it's just like, what are you doing? But these people are more narratively interesting. There's a greater mechanical detriment to doing it. Because you're killing merchants, for the most part, that could still be useful to you potentially if you decide to kill them.
Yeah.
Other than Kale, who's useful for nothing. But
that's the only one. That's the only guy that I actually killed on the quest line because I'm not going to wait until the end of the game to get his helm. It's like fuck Kale. I'm just going to kill him now.
Yeah. Screw Kale. We can all agree that Kale is a piece of shit. But or go ahead.
It culminates with you having to kill the Emerald Herald.
Yeah, which is super intense because at this point, like, and I don't have all of my theorizing done for the whole game because reasons. This is before, at least in my initial playthrough, I had any reason to doubt the absolute goodness of the Emerald Herald. Mm-hmm. Like, now I can kind of see, like, well, there's some things that don't add up. Like, I don't know entirely what her story is or what her motivations are, rather, but, like, it's possible that they are not 100% pure. At the time, though, I was just like, I don't want to do that. Like, she's great. She helps me level up. You don't do that. And luckily, she doesn't, and also the item he asked for is super mechanically useful. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I didn't realize you don't lose the item.
Yeah.
You just had to show it to him, and he's satisfied with that.
Yeah. And boy, if you could just go and do all of this stuff without proceeding, through the rest of this area, you could pull a Lucatiel and jump the gun and kill her before she just hands it over.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All you got to do is wait 45 minutes, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. And you'll get all of these things.
Yeah.
But I never, like, I mean, if I'm playing, RP server style, like, I don't want to kill any of these people. Like, Gilligan, they ramp up in guilt. Like, Gilligan, we know he's a criminal and he's kind of a shithead. And he even says, like, no one's going to miss him. But then by the time, and then Kale's like a nice guy, though. And then you get to Falcon, who actually helped me out a lot and is, kind of a pitiable person anyway. And you get the sense that, like, he's testing your, like, moral boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to put you on a slippery slope of violence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Against people that sit and stare at walls.
Yeah, exactly. People who are essentially vegetables. And sitting on talk boys.
This brings to mind that I've never actually aggroed the Emerald Herald, so I don't know how she fights.
She doesn't.
Oh, she doesn't?
She doesn't fight back. She'll let you kill her.
Okay. Huh.
I think when you get her, I think when you get her to like 50%, she just goes, "If this is what you wish," and then she doesn't say anything else until she's dead.
Whew.
Yep. Yeah. So this guy, if you do his quest line, if either you let him go and talk to him while you're human, or you do his quest line while hollow and talk to him, you get some real swag gear.
Yeah.
Like really, really cool sorceries you get. You get that like Forbidden Sun. I think is the culmination. I like that astrologer set or the witch set rather that he has. Like I think that looks really cool.
Yeah. The chaos set is pretty great. You get his his stuff. Yeah. I think
his creepy mask.
Yeah, you can buy the witch set off of him. The witch and the astrologer set. Yeah.
Which look really cool.
Yeah. And that witch gear is really good if you're trying to block elements.
Yeah. It's an all around just really solid set, especially if you're doing whips and you're a guy and you're just wearing the high heels. That's it.
Yeah. Or a lady. Yeah. You can be a high heel whipman or whipwoman. But pro Navlin.
Yeah.
Navlin's great. I still don't know exactly who he is. I mean, I want to take it at face value that he is the royal sorcerer. Like that would make a sense to me, and also a sorcery that has come to life. Could be both.
Yeah.
I don't think he's Aldia. I think he's a discrete character personally.
The idea is that so this theory that this listener sent in was that this is Olenford, who when he ventured into the crypt found a sorcery that was just kind of like forbidden. Like, okay, this was sealed away for a reason, and that's because it would possess you. Yeah. Yeah.
Could be. Second floor.
Second floor. So the mirror's back.
Yeah. The mirrors and the same invaders from the Mirror Knight fight. Like these are just a bunch of Mirror Knight spare shields.
Yeah.
And they will, mirror invaders will pop out.
Yeah.
Which again, that's a super cool. Like I love the animation. When you're seeing them, they're busting
kind
out.
of wimpy.
Yeah, they're not hard. Even the Mirror Knight ones aren't hard either. They're just hard because you're also fighting the Mirror Knight.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
They're pretty easy fights.
Yeah. There's a wonderful bit of flavor actually in the collector's guide, which supposes that these are demons that were created on the other side of a mirror after heroes looked into them, and that they are trying to break out in order to replace the person who cast their shadow or who cast their reflection.
Very cool.
Yeah, very creepy.
Yeah.
And the only one to succeed was the one that possesses Navlon.
Yeah, exactly. And he did it. Yeah, it could be some mirror magic.
Yeah.
There's also a red crystal lizard for no good reason. And
He's just collecting oddities at this point. He's got stagecoaches coming in day and night.
yeah, that's true. Just follow those guys.
You get a sweet reward for beating these mirror guys, I think.
There's a
like
ritual band over there, like a northern or southern ritual band.
Yeah, Northern Ritual Band +2.
Yeah.
And Petrified Dragon Bone, which you're going to get a lot of those now.
Yeah. That's almost a joke at this point. And don't make me laugh, all right? I don't need your petrified dragon bones. I know where there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Third floor.
Hey, we're not at the Dragon Aerie yet, okay?
Yeah, I know. At this point, I'm just saying the game is letting you know. Listen, you're gonna be in the bone zone. Population U.
These are soon going to become as useless as Pharaoh stones.
Yeah, exactly. The third floor, giant basilisk in a cage. Love that. Like I love that giant basilisk the first time. I still like it.
Give me some more. Come on.
Yeah, throw some more giant basilisks at me. He doesn't aggro unless you attack him or get really close or go into the cage.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. I read some theory. He can drop a piece of Aldia gear that is
I've
from
gotten that gear.
Yeah, it says something like it's like from the Archmage of the Keep, and people suppose that was possibly Aldia, and he got eaten by the guy.
Uh-huh.
Like, which is not that satisfying or dramatic, but that's a theory I've read just while throwing theories out there.
Yeah, it's the Dragon Sage.
I just like it because I just like it because it's just a giant astronaut. Like, it's a furry astronaut helmet.
Yeah. It looks like something from Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, or New Vegas rather, like those kind of helmets.
Yeah. That also drops off of the Petrified Ogre in Aldia's. Yeah. And let's see here. Yeah, by the Archmaster of Aldia, even.
Yeah, Archmaster is what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like having that ogre right there, right outside the basilisk, because I like when there are petrified things near basilisk because it makes sense and doesn't happen that often in this game. Mm-hmm. So.
And this is my first indication that Aldia is really shitty at making cages.
Yeah, he does make the worst cages.
It only gets worse from here.
No, they're not meant to keep things in or out. Like they're just decorative cages. Like it's just his Etsy shop of handcrafted wicker cages,
origami cages.
The first other than the giant skeletal dragon, to get into this next area, you had to pull that little ring or pull the dragon's tongue or what have you in the little room, which is a weird little detail, and then you enter the keep proper.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of the more useful Pharos stones, partly because of what Alex mentioned, where like they're more or less useless at this point, or not useless, but they're just not going to run into many uses for them. But also because I like the way this place looks with the lights on a lot.
Yeah,
like I just like looking down this hallway with all these caged oddities. On the way,
and even more empty cages above it. It's just like it casts a super creepy, still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also the way it lights up, like it progresses down, like you get an oh shit moment. As it is getting progressively more dangerous as it goes along. Yeah.
As you go, these dragon acolytes like to pop out from behind paintings. Like they're just planning a surprise party.
Oh, we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them.
Like, it's real Scooby-Doo-ish, like as you mentioned. Like it is real, just like ghoulish guys hiding behind paintings.
Grab by the ghoulies. Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to get.
That's a video game. Yeah.
That is true. You got us there, Kole. I don't know this to be true because I didn't get a good look at it, and I didn't get a chance to research this. So if somebody wants to correct me, don't correct me with prejudice because I'm not making this statement with extreme confidence. But like, I was fighting one of these guys in New Game or Bonfire Aesthetic to refresh my memory, and it looked like when he healed, it didn't look like he chugged on an Estus. It looked like he ate something.
Yeah, he chugs a life stone.
Or he eats a life stone.
Yep.
Yeah. So these are the only monsters I know that eat life gems. I don't know if it's significant. I think I've seen Estus chugging black phantoms, but these guys will actually chomp on life stones, which is interesting.
Which is weird because Estus assumes they're hollow, right?
Yeah, and life stones assume they're not.
Yeah. Well, just like that.
Well, I mean, if you're an everlasting dragon acolyte, I don't think you'd have to worry about going hollow. So life stones would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's possible. I mean, if they've succeeded, or to what degree they've succeeded in their quest.
Yeah. I mean, there's very little evidence one way or another. They're still fulfilling their purpose. I mean, you see that one, well, except for the ones that behind the paintings.
Yeah. Those guys, what purpose is that? Here, you masturbate in this hole in the wall and do it for all eternity. Aldia thus commands thee.
Gary, I don't judge what you do on the weekends. Don't judge what I do.
Yeah, listen, I just have a thing. I like to masturbate behind paintings while pies are waiting to cool. Yeah.
I don't even eat the pies. I hand them out.
Yeah.
But why can't I do that? Because we're on New Game Plus and that one's reserved for someone else.
Yeah, exactly. You have to earn your way. You have to do your time in the giant skinning room, and then in the artificial and dead creating room. And then once you get to that level, you get to go into this little peep booth.
You know what? We've got all of these entitled millennial acolytes coming right out of Dragon School, thinking, "Oh, I'm just going to waltz right into the spank tank."
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get listen. How about an unpaid internship?
Yeah,
that's what you get.
We can pay you an exposure, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're gonna fight some guys. That's what's gonna.
You want to get promoted? Yeah, you want to get promoted? Good fucking luck. Aldia is fucking gone.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't know.
Welcome to the rest of your life.
The boss is on vacation. This is not a good time to talk about a promotion.
Yeah,
Aldia's on
we're on a freeze.
Yeah,
the boss isn't around. We're on a budget freeze, and we really got to bring in some more crystal lizards that don't explode before we can have the resources to save you. Yeah, those guys.
Those guys. Boy, I love that room off to the left with the potions.
Oh, real quick though, the cool one of the things that just the little tiny detail. I love the description on the hammers.
Oh yeah,
of the dragon guys, where like they say specifically it's not a weapon; it's used to like crack shells and dismember bones and like separate bones from each other. Mm-hmm. That's a nice little detail.
Yes, a hammer used for dissection.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
But yeah, the room you're talking about, the one to the left that leads down.
Yeah, you have to go there because the other one is locked.
Yeah.
But
or you could just go straight through. Is the other thing?
Oh, true. Yeah.
Oh, Snape's defense against the dark arts room.
Yeah, the dark arts classroom. Yeah. Aldia could be like a total dark arts teacher, given that like they're almost always secret shitheels in some way.
And that explains why he vanished, since every single year at Hogwarts, it's always a new dark arts teacher.
Yeah. Or the Mirror Knight, he's got like a Quirrell on the back of his head. Professor Quirrell. Deep Harry Potter.
Why do I want to call you guys a fucking nerd?
Well, we're really talking about some Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't expect a muggle like you to understand.
Yeah.
But I think Harry Potter's okay. I don't want to actually portray myself as somebody who loves it.
Yeah.
It's not true. Like, I like it. It's fine.
Yeah. Not knowledge of something isn't a ringing endorsement. Well,
yeah. I mean, I think it's probably pretty good, but it's that I'm not like writing this from, or like podcasting this from inside a wand.
You're not wearing your Gryffindor scarf.
Or are you?
I'm not wearing an owl. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And not wearing a sorting hat.
God. You're digging yourself further.
Yeah.
But yeah, these potions serve no purpose. They're just kind of here to look cool.
Yeah, they serve no purpose
except for the Pharaoh Stone, which you can use on the lights.
Yeah. That's the way he always had to turn on the lights in his apartment. It's just similar to how the books serve no purpose when you run into them. It's just like giving you ab flavor.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not saying that angrily. I'm just saying that like they put it in here just so it would look cool. And I appreciate
the room that comes later that just does that is super awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, this one's really cool too. Actually, all of the rooms are great. So you head downstairs. There's a super hidden bonfire here, which is like semi handy if on your first one through, even though it's pretty close to the last one. Mm-hmm. And then there's this giant acid pit down at the bottom filled with the dogs from the gutter and treasure. But this always annoys me because you have to just take off all your clothes to run through the acid.
Yeah.
It's a naked pool party. You can't complain about a naked pool party with those giant monstrosities in an orange goo, which may or may not be giant blood.
It's probably ecto cooler.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine how many bees would be at an ecto cooler pool party?
That's like for the king of the bees. Like,
prepare the humans for the feast.
Yeah. Just have them swim in this ecto cooler.
To be devoured by ghost bees.
Yeah.
We're just giving From Software ideas now for Dark Souls 3 boss as the King of the Bees in the naked pool.
I'd play it.
Man, I want to see the King of the Bees. Like, fuck yeah. Or man, think about that as like a any kind of video game, really, like a boss run up where you go through things that are essentially marinades and flavoring. Like, you know, like you go through like this thing and you come through, and then the boss, like, you know, you run through like a ditch of this goo, and then you end up in a room where like you see food that's floating in the goo and stuff, and like meat curing, and then you go into the boss, and you know it's just a cartoon dog with a fork and a knife and a bib.
Or
you know,
if it was like Alpha Protocol, and you could get a tip ahead of time about what the dog likes or doesn't like. Yeah,
and you could flavor yourself as such that it didn't like.
Yeah. So like if you just like roll around at some kimchi and run like, yo, what up?
Yeah, and then he leaves you alone.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah,
because everybody knows dogs hate kimchi.
Yeah, no, I've never seen a dog eat kimchi. Therefore,
yeah.
But
I've been. They do something like that with Shadow of Mordor, which I've been playing, and that's.
It's becoming
It's so
inevitable that I have to
good.
play that game.
It's making Kole mad.
It's
to hear
so
that.
good.
Oh, yep. I love this though because this is where the memory hole leads.
Yeah.
Down
Well,
here.
let's talk about that memory hole in a second.
Yeah.
Because the reveal of it's really cool.
Okay.
You get the Aldia key here to do some more exploration, which is cool. You can use that to open this door to the dissection room, which there is like an acolyte just working on, which I love.
Yeah.
Like just going about his business.
And there's a hero soul on the table there.
Yep.
Which
just taking people apart.
Now I feel horrible because that's probably like I always backstab that one working guy, but he's probably the one that deserves the promotion the most. And oh, fuck.
Hey, he's making the rest
I'm
of
an
us look bad.
asshole
Okay.
You gotta lure him into the painting area and then just like forward R1 him into the painting. and then somehow close it up. Just stand there with the great shield and just hold him in. There are also those sickles from the Enhanced Undead here, which is the reason why we think that those guys came from here.
Yep.
Even though I guess like now that I think about it, that could just be what sickles look like here. Like that could just be sickles. Because we don't actually see any of those Enhanced Undead. Or artificial undead. We do see Enhanced Undead. We don't see artificial undead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you know what? I mixed those two up. I almost forgot that they were the same, or that they were different things. See, I did it just there too.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hard to keep straight. We've seen an Enhanced Undead as well in a cage here, who again can't get out of the cage unless you make him mad. And the only time we've seen these guys is down by the Lost Bastille.
Yes.
Swimming in their pool party, their naked pool party.
Yeah. There's also the acid beetle here as well, the gigantic one.
I love the look of those things.
Yeah.
The Enhanced Undead being here is why the Enhanced Undead makes sense. Because when you look at them, and I think we mentioned this when we first brought them up, is that they have like a tail, they have like little bits of things on their back that could be construed for wings. And the preeminent fan theory is that this is an attempt to mix an undead with a dragon,
right?
Somehow, and that's kind of borne out as at least some kind of a goal of Aldia's as we move on.
I may be splitting hairs here, but is it mixing an undead with a dragon, or mixing humans with dragons in order to beat the curse and finding out that it does not work?
They're just called undead, which is why I said mixing an undead with a dragon, like it's in their name. Yep. I mean, I guess it doesn't actually. They could be human and then become undead.
Yeah.
You're splitting. You're not splitting hairs because you're wrong. I think it actually doesn't matter.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, I like thinking about what actually made them. Yeah. There's no basis for it, but I could see we know that he is experimenting to try and cure the curse.
Yeah, and we know that he's inviting humans here.
Yeah,
and doing experiments on them because he's a jerk.
Yeah,
and then we get the ogre. The ogre guy.
Fuck the ogre.
Yeah.
Well, there are two of them.
There are
Fuck
three.
Both of them.
Three. There's one in a cage, one that's behind a wall, and then another one that's behind a wall. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's ogres.
So many ogres.
It's the only time in Dark Souls 2 that I just feel is on your first playthrough that's just so unfair.
Oh, that you have the door opening?
The first one you can see through the little part in the door, but the second one just comes out of nowhere, and I hate that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is a fuck you moment, but it is the one. It is like a fuck you moment that I just laughed out loud at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's them
Yeah.
saying fuck you and me saying fuck you back.
Like a sitcom. Oh, you shaking your finger at him.
The I get most mad at fuck you Dark Souls moments and when they do it more than once. Mm-hmm. I mean, or if I just had to keep doing it over and over. Mm-hmm. Thus the optional area in the latest DLC. But this was not as frustrating, mostly because at this point I didn't die from it in one hit. Which was nice. Even though the first time the second one got me, I was fighting Navlin, as I mentioned before, because he invades here, and that sucked. Because I was like, shield up to Navlin, hexes tearing through my shield. This is like pre-nerf hexes, so like they're doing tons of damage, and I just back into that ogre who pops out. And I also had like oh fuck you, like I did the same thing. Like okay, but I found that hidden bonfire, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I hate how Navlon just invades here because you missed that vista right after that. Because I immediately just bolted for that fog door.
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck what was behind it because it couldn't have been worse than two ogres and a Navlon.
That was my favorite Steve Gutenberg movie. The one thing that you'll miss if you're running away from Navlon, segue, is this other set piece room that we mentioned.
Yeah.
Which is a dragon acolyte doing work on a table next to just a gigantic heap of dead giants who are like leaking into that pit that goes down to where those dogs are.
Yeah.
This is like chilling. Like it is such a good scene. Like it reminds me, like playing this level reminds me of and I've said that, I'm sure I'm on the record saying this. What I love so much about haunted houses is not having some teenager like jump out and yell at me. It's about walking into a surreal, scary room and taking it in. And this is that.
Yeah.
Like I just want to go in here, soak up the detail of this like spooky set piece and then be able to move on. And that's kind of what these side rooms are in this area.
Yeah. I mean, it is effectively a mass grave for creatures that ultimately end up being very pitiable. Like you may not realize it just yet. I fought one of them down in that fort and he was kind of a dick. So whatever, but like, it's pretty tragic at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a giant kind of a huge lore moment for me. Cause I walked in that room and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, sweet, a hole. I'm going to see what happens when I jump down it.
Yeah, and the pool party.
Yeah.
As we mentioned. One of the hardest to get items in the game is here, too. You have to get that dragon to open up this chain door.
Or the ogre, right?
Or the ogre, rather. Yeah. Oh, you didn't unlock the dragon, Kole? Okay, no.
Yeah.
I was lucky and got this on my first try.
Yeah.
When I saw it behind there, and then I got it and I'm like, well, I don't ever want to use this thing.
Did you just kind of know to lure an ogre over there? Or did you look
I was basically like scraping the walls trying to find any secret anything.
Yeah.
And I just saw the chest through that door. And then I kept hitting the door until I realized I probably got to get something bigger. Maybe.
Yeah. I
something maybe ogre sized.
It never occurred to me to try and have an ogre smash down a door. So I just, on my first playthrough, let it go. Up until this one, I was like, okay, I need to see what's back there. And it's interesting.
Yeah. Why do you have it in the note here? Why do you have it connected to the man-eaters?
I have no idea because it's a crustacean shell and it's sealed away.
It's not really a shell, though, if you look at it. Like, did you actually swing it away or swing it around?
No, because I didn't have the strength to do it.
It's a jawbone. Like, it has teeth.
Okay.
So which is the weird thing about it. I feel like shell, like it shouldn't be called a shell.
Yeah.
I think that's a translation error or something like that. It's a jawbone with teeth coming out of it. Like it's pretty great. It's pretty awesome looking.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought it was. Isn't it like the malformed skull, or is that a different item?
The skull is a different one. There's the shell and the skull. The skull, the enhanced undead will drop, and that looks less like it doesn't have teeth. Like it might have like fangs, but it doesn't have like human looking teeth. Yeah. Like this has
way to go,
molars. Yeah. Like it has straight up molars. Like they are creepy looking human giant teeth.
Yeah.
Which they probably were human at some point. Yeah. So
yeah.
If it has like really really low durability.
Yeah.
So I never wanted to use it.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell it does because during the description it says something like it's too fragile to be swung about willy nilly, which like using the phrase willy nilly seems a little oddly toned.
Yeah. I've got the description in the notes here. I think this is the only item that straight up says why Aldia was doing his research, like to actually find the secret of life itself and viewed the undead as a key to the mystery.
Yeah, the undead have escaped that cycle, so
Yeah.
clearly they're irrelevant. So you make your way past these ogres, the Navlin, these cool set pieces. You get outside, and you see the fog gate. You're
Holy
outside.
shit.
Yeah. Well, they're just stacking up holy shits because like this is a holy shit, and then you go through the fog gate, and like so you're seeing this dragon aviary. It's super super beautiful.
Yeah, you just like look outside and just look at this huge landscape, and it's like, holy fuck, we're in Middle Earth. I love this.
I want a level set down there. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be down looking up at these spires.
Yep. And but then you get in to fight the guardian dragon. One of the things I really like about this fight is that you are inside like a cage. Like you've been going through this whole monster zoo thing, and this is kind of the culmination of that. Like he's not just keeping,
Yeah, welcome to Aldia's Octagon.
yeah, he's not just like torturing giants, and stuff. Like he's just got a full on dragon. This is the first dragon you've seen in the game that is not dead. Yeah. It's kind of a big deal. Like.
It's alive and it is spitting fire.
Yeah. And he's real easy to get into an AI loop where he just kind of backs away to the left over and over if you get in the right place to stab him in the ankle. One of the things about this dragon, and it can be, I feel like they do it more successfully in one of the DLCs a little bit later, is that he uses the fact that he's a dragon against you. Like, I have a vertical axis, you don't.
Yep.
Which, like, from a gameplay perspective is a little bit annoying because it's you don't have access to damage the boss, but like it makes enough sense that I can't really fault it.
Yeah.
If I could fly, I wouldn't just stand on the ground and just punch a guy until he died. Like I would probably try to use that.
Yeah.
To my advantage.
And it's also a nice fusion of the boss and the arena itself because he will perch up on the side of the cage as a bird would and kind of rain fire down on you. And
the fact that he's in this giant bird cage, like already, like it just adds to that kind of tone and feel to it. It's just very cool. Like I like that a lot about it. While mechanically it's not that special, and he does so little damage. Like the first time I fought him with a hexcaster, like before they nerfed Great Resonant Soul, I think it's like 4 casts. Like you can almost kill it before he takes off.
I mean, if he has so many like environmental advantages against you, and yet he still decides, I'm going to come down and just sit on the ground with you and just see what happens. And oh, you're gonna fuck me up. Oh.
I always took that as if he was going to try to like eat you or something.
Yeah,
like that's why he wants to come down. He doesn't want to scorch you or anything like that. Like he's doing both because he would love to claw you in.
One grievance that I have with the fight is that the hitbox, like the hitbox is the right word for that, on the flame is not very well apparent. So it will look like you have cleared, especially when he does kind of like his semicircle sweep. It'll look like you cleared it, but in fact you just get barely nicked by it. And if that happens at a bad time, you'll die.
Well, if you don't like hitboxes of flames,
I mean, we're going to.
I got a boss for you, buddy.
I know. I need to bring it up here too.
This terrible hitboxes seem to be just a huge common theme amongst all dragons in this game,
and in Dark Souls and in Demon Souls.
Yeah, like it is like this is. Like, well, not this one, but the next boss we're going to talk about is the worst.
Yeah.
Actually, my least favorite boss in Dark Souls. Like, I think in the entire series, like, I don't think there's a worse boss. But yeah, so you kill this guy. He's not too hard. And again, that has meaning. Like a long time ago, I posited that like all of the bosses that are underwhelming or seem easy are that way for a purpose. The old Dragon Slayer is meant to show how powerful Ornstein is with Smo. Like what if he didn't have that connection? The Dragon Rider, you get 2 of them. And the next area, this is straight up a regular enemy. So, like, it's not a very special boss fight, but it is making a point about what you're going to be facing in the next area, the Dragon Aerie. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, we are brought to you by Patreon.com, our wonderful backers there. Even as little as $1 a month makes a huge difference. Head on over to Patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Support us because you love us, but also because you get extra cool stuff. And it brightens my day. We really appreciate it. And it helps us do this and not have it cost us money. And it's just a really cool thing to do. You have a lot of choices in what to listen to, and we really appreciate the people who have decided to support us and the people who listen to us. It literally is like the best part of my day. So again, head on over to patreon.com/DuckFeedTV, or don't, and just continue listening and know that you have my love and gratitude for that.
Yeah. And we replace one beautiful view with another as we take this long elevator ride up to, I think, one of the most visually striking areas out in the game outside of Amana.
Yeah, like we'll keep it like just this whole area. Like they're really doing a string here. Like this is like if you silence that part of your brain that hosts a Dark Souls podcast and has to try to connect everything, all of these individual areas are aesthetically and set piece like so incredible. Like Aerie to the Undead Crypt, which has like the Vendrick reveal and the torch thing, and the Aldia's Keep, and then the Dragon Aerie, where it's just like it's amazing, like beautiful vistas, like just seeing these dragons fly through the air, kind of in slow, lazy circles.
Yeah. It appeals to like a cheaper part of my brain that like in the short term immediately values like or immediately appreciates a designer who wants to put as much cool shit in front of me as possible.
Yeah.
In favor or favoring that over kind of the internal consistency of Dark Souls, right?
Right. Yeah. So it still kind of works, and also like it's an awesome wake up from that Guardian Dragon fight. Like you don't know what's behind there. Mm-hmm. You see one dragon, he's not at his best. You're fighting him in a place where he's prostate. And then, did I use that word right? Prostrate.
Prostrate.
He is not a prostate. Like you fight him right in the prostate.
Yeah.
Because he's over 40 and you got to check that shit out.
Yeah. He could be there waiting to be milked.
Yeah,
we told him to turn his head and cough, and he just jumped onto the side of the cage and started raining fire down on us.
Yeah, he turned his head and breathed fire. He's immortal, so once you're immortal, it's time to get he probably needs a colonoscopy, the sigmoidoscopy, the whole thing. But anyway, so you've seen one of them and he's not at his best, and then you just see like, oh, this is where these things live, and there's hundreds of them, and they're beautiful creatures. Yeah. It's just so good.
Watching them darting and kind of just tangling around with each other in the sky over top of this just gorgeous view, like it's sunset. Just like, holy shit, I need this as like a heavy metal album cover.
Yeah,
Gary, is it metal?
It's real metal. It's like it's beautiful, like beautiful metal. It's like it's not it's not like the dragons. It's like the dragons aren't going to breathe fire on anything. They're not going to go sack a village. This is like about the beauty of dragons. It's more Rush than metal.
Yeah. I mean, just it would probably be like Dream Theater.
This is the power. Yeah. Like this is just totally. It's like this is dragons at sunset with what may or may not be on Orlando. I'm not sure, but it's very far away. We'll get to it later.
Just appreciate it from afar.
And I'm going to get way into dragons at Honor Orlando, so nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Our old buddy, the Emerald Herald, is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever she pops up, there's bound to be plot.
Yeah, exactly. She's like the Watcher. This is the real her. Mm-hmm. As I mentioned in the last show notes, Vadi did that translation video. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting and mentions that that the Emerald Herald can project herself. So the reason why she is everywhere at once is because she's not actually everywhere at once. She sends this kind of cultural word for a projection that doesn't exactly have a direct translation. Yeah. But this is the real her.
Yeah. And she even says as much. She says, it was her own manifestation that led us here. Whether that was from Majula to here or from wherever you began the game with that first, with that Firekeeper to, Drain Lake itself.
Yeah. Or both.
Yeah.
Like it is, again, like that, the Firekeeper saying that whole you'll look around and not know why thing that I mentioned. Like I'm fairly certain that's who that ultimately is, from the future or from, like that. But yeah, so she says that, there's a dragon waiting for you. And you need to shatter the shackles of fate and set her free. Which, like, this so far, like, is so cogent as a storyline thing. I'm like, okay, this is why she's leading us through these paces. It's just what happens, like, how that relates to what we ultimately do. I don't have.
Yeah.
And that's what bums me out about it. Like, as much as I, love this game, even though I've been, like, accused of white knighting for it, like, that's where the stuff bums me out. Like, I'm on board, man. This is great. Like, she's probably created by Aldia. She's got some dragon DNA, in her. As we find out, she gives you the Eich feather, which is super useful. And it says, the child of the dragon sequestered away from the world, imagined a world of boundless possibilities from the mere sight of a feather. Cool.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for the longest time, I was pissed off at that feather because, but now that you've said that, it's like, oh, she's a manifestation that just can appear whenever and wherever she pleases. It's like, okay. Now I'm a little less pissed off that she didn't just give me the damn feather from the beginning of the entire game when I first met her.
Yeah, she didn't have it. Even though I wonder if you kill her at Majula if she drops it. That'd be a thing to think about.
Yeah.
To
now I'm pissed again.
Not saying to make you mad or anything.
Yeah.
But it does. It just, that all makes sense. I just don't understand what that has to do with what we're going to ultimately do, like a couple episodes from now.
Yeah, it's upsetting because it feels like they're squandering momentum because she is the successful experiment that could break the cycle.
Right. And it doesn't work.
Yeah. Like it is rushing. It has plenty of momentum. Like it appears that it's going to connect and then it bounces before it hits the corner.
Yeah.
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 That's just what makes her entire motive so sad on why she's helping everybody. It's just like, it's just her own guilt that she couldn't do it. And I don't understand that.
I mean, there is, like, you can get kind of meta with it. If, like, you think that she knows that she did not solve the thing. She knows that going hollow comes from losing purpose. And that's literally what she's doing. Is it is like a Shaggy Dog thing where she is literally giving you purpose so you don't go hollow.
Right.
And that's why she's giving you a series of kind of quests to go on. Like that, you can get like kind of weirdly meta with it, and that's not unsatisfying to me. There's just not enough dots for it. Like, I actually kind of like that as an explanation, but there's not enough in the text to support it.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to say ironic or appropriate, but picture some kind of blend between those two words that she mentioned shattering the shackles of fate and setting her free because by her own admission, even right here, she has been fate in this game for you so far. She is the one who's been setting you up to do everything that you're going to do. Yeah.
But yeah, you make your way through this area, and it's actually a pretty short area. They introduce these eggs, which has like one of my favorite payoffs of all time. And one of my favorite soapstone messages is someone put in front of the eggs that said, "Think carefully, ... life!" exclamation point, which is just like cute to me.
Choose life.
Yeah. Like, don't smash these eggs. But they want you to smash the eggs because this place is crawling with crystal lizards, including behind these eggs. Yeah. There's so many of them.
Good thing we just got that aged feather.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
to reset everything.
We didn't say what the aged feather does. It is an infinite homeward bone.
Yeah.
Yeah. The design of this area really creeps me out. Back to the King of Bees, because the egg places look like wasp nests. It's like they had built up some kind of just biological matter around these things in a honeycomb kind of fashion. I don't know why, but that really unsettles me.
Yeah, are you talking about like where the dragons are nesting specifically?
Yeah, just kind of like throughout.
It always looks like bone to me.
Yeah.
Like, that could be a function of color blindness, though. Like, whenever I see something like that, I never want to say it because, like, I'm going to be like, it looks like bone, and people are going to be like, you fucking idiot, it's lime green. I'm just like, I'm sorry. But it always looks like bone to me, like dragon bone.
Yeah, I might have that phobia of holes in things, or at least a distaste for holes in things.
As well, you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're mostly just making your way through these 3 nests.
Yeah.
Where there are dragons waiting with tons of treasure, awesome treasure, crystal lizards, tons of upgrade stones. You can get the dragon tooth here if you want that.
And the most pointless placement of exploding citizens ever.
Yeah, those guys are back.
Yep.
Guess who's back? There's one of the
because reasons.
Yeah, exactly. There's one of the hardest to get treasures, I think, in the game is the one that you have to jump off the zip line to get. And that's crazy. Like, I think it's just like a great hero soul or something like that, but it's definitely not worth all the times you're going to die trying to get it. But
yeah. The hitboxes come back to bear here, especially on that second nest where there's the wall between you, and it can just blow fire through the wall at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the third one, which is the third one or the second one where you start off on top of it?
It's the third one. Yeah, it's the third one.
Third
where you have
one.
to do a plunging attack.
And you can do a plunging attack if you want to just do, like, you can also just pepper with arrows, of course. And the plunging attack.
That's what I did.
Yeah. I think it's Peeve. I think Peeve Peverson did a video where he did the plunging attack and the physics fucked up and made him shoot into the air. It's a real fun video. I'll find it, or I'll try to find it.
I think, I think I saw a video of Lobos doing that where it just, he rode he was like riding on the back of the dragon as it like launched him.
Lobos.
It's real crazy. But yeah, so you just kind of make your way through these nests. Again, making your way through these caves and stuff. It's a pretty short area.
Yeah.
But you get to this bridge, eventually that leads to the set piece. And this is where that payoff is, is that, if you have destroyed enough eggs, the fewer eggs you destroy, the more time you have to cross this bridge that is blowing wind at you. If you destroy enough of them, a dragon will come and destroy the bridge and knock you into the abyss. It gets reset by bonfires, but that's such a cool like little detail. Like, again, like it's so weird to be like to get critical about the big picture stuff in Dark Souls because that's where I think they mess up. Like the little detail stuff and the individual set pieces are so strong that it, like and that generates so much goodwill for me. Because that's great. That's a cool idea.
I especially love how, like, this is one of the few Dark Souls 2 levels that doubles back on itself. Where you can, like, take the zip line back and then get even more items on top and knock the ladder down. And it's like, you don't see that as much in Dark Souls 2 as it was in Dark Souls 1. And I really enjoyed how that, like, going back to just that, no matter how small it was.
Until the DLC where they do it like all the time, which I think is on purpose. Like they're answering some criticisms.
Yeah, I'm manufacturing a grievance here, but I could see being very frustrated with this area, especially if you are thoughtlessly destroying the eggs as you go along, and if it looks ultimately like it's impossible to cross that bridge. Yeah.
Well, the second time you tried it, like like if you didn't just because you'd have no reason to go out of the way to destroy the eggs then. On the second time, and then it wouldn't stop you.
Well, I mean, if you're still fighting the dragons, like if you didn't see the zip line, like I said, manufacturing grievances, but like I didn't see the zip line the first time through.
Yeah. I don't find. I feel like that connection makes a sense. Like I don't feel like I think like if you're doing that and you're just kind of like willy nilly destroying dragon eggs, like and the dragon keeps attacking you, like I think that's a slightly like a stretch, but not a huge stretch for them to ask you to make. If it keeps happening. It's never happened to me. Like because I always, got the zip line and rested the bonfire. And, think carefully life.
I eventually find the correlation between being a fucking dick and getting killed by dragon.
Yeah, maybe I'm not giving people enough credit. It's also worth mentioning that this is the bridge that everybody thought was leading to, the Painted World of Arimus.
Yeah. But it doesn't. Instead, it leads to the Dragon Shrine.
Yeah.
The third area we're talking about. Okay, we won't have episodes this long until we get to the DLC, folks. and then buckle up. But yeah, this is a citadel at the top of the area, and this is where the ancient dragon lives.
Yeah.
And again, part of the critical path. And again, a very beautiful area with some pretty frustrating enemies that we'll talk about. So,
oh boy. Yeah. So that whole thing about let's lift up certain areas and have everything kind of roll down here, I feel like this is a little bit of that for items that they couldn't find another place to put. Specifically, that first Pharos Lockstone, which gets you the Judgment set, right?
Right.
So Velka peers in momentarily.
Right, and not the, because we've already had the Pardoner, which like wears the set.
Yeah.
But you find them here for one reason or another.
Yeah.
The Wisdom Staff as well, which is like... Or go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, well, that's because it's obviously the Painted World of Ariamus.
Yeah.
Well, I defy you to map that out. Not just you. I'm not saying you specifically. Anybody, if they can make a pressing argument for the Dragon Shrine specifically being the painted world of Aerie, even though like Priscilla was a half breed, like I guess it. I don't know. But the wisdom staff you get here too, which is like the super powerful sorcery staff, which is cool from Olafus.
Yeah. These Drake Keepers are real bummers for me.
Yeah, these are some of the worst regular enemies in the game.
Yeah,
I think they're very frustrating.
Just the second one, like most of them I can deal with perfectly fine. It's just that second one doesn't have any stamina cooldown.
Yeah, he can move cancel too.
And what's worse, and what's worse is you have to do all of these really hard enemies while getting hit with pot shots from the most annoying fucking priestess on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Up there in the tower, there's the Dark Priestess. Thankfully, there's only one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can go
all they need.
Yeah, you can go kill her, but she has straight up Shrine of Amana style homing missiles.
Yeah.
That do less damage but knock you down.
Yep.
And they're just there to harry you while you're fighting these gigantic guys who are a little bit like the Hades Tower of Flame.
Yeah, like the old knights.
Giants. Yeah, they're a little bit like the old knights.
Yeah.
Just stronger and again
except on steroids.
Yeah, a specific one with the problems with the stamina.
I think to my eyes, they look a lot like the Sentinels from Anor Londo a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of have that same regal bearing to them on their armor and such. And I think some of them actually use halberds.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of something sinister about them, aside from the fact that they're trying to kill you with large weapons, which is that one of their item descriptions says that something dark is eating away at them. Which I don't know if that implies curse. I don't know if that implies undead or hollowing or what. But to me that is an indication that not everything here is as it seems.
Yeah.
All I know is that it's not stamina loss.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not bleeding.
Right.
There's kind of two different paths you can kind of take through here. The non-critical path, which is the one you want to take, is towards this tower.
Yeah.
And you head up towards this tower and you get this kind of like cool. There's this cool fresco above the door that's very lore significant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that down here a little bit later in the notes. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Housekeeping here, but yeah, this is the statue. It's the relief that is referenced by the panels in the Shrine of Winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And no questions are answered about this in the Shrine of Winter DLC.
God damn it.
But yeah, it is
Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls.
Yeah.
All the dots are there.
Yeah. So like just to give a description of what it is, at least as it's called out in that Reddit thread that popped up pretty early on, it's you've got a gigantic dragon with some smaller dragons kind of lording over and shining light down on some human-like figures. There's a road figure with a small child who some presume to be the Emerald Herald. And there is a large spherical object which is presumed to be the petrified egg, and people prostrating themselves, kneeling before the egg as though they're worshiping it.
I don't think I've ever found this. Is this like where you get the third dragon ring?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, it's like right above the door that's the entrance to that tower.
Okay.
And you want to go there 100% because that third dragon ring is ace.
Yeah.
Like it's a choice. It's the best ring in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the FAP ring for Dark Souls 2.
Except it doesn't break.
So it doesn't break and it slightly works.
Yeah. Well, it breaks. It has durability, but it doesn't break when you take it off. There we go.
Right.
Yeah.
It only breaks if you run into those exploding citizens and or go into the naked party pool.
Yeah. The bee eats it. Yeah. Man, this is also where I really don't like this invasion. The Dragon Fang Villard.
Oh, yeah. This has never bothered me.
No?
I don't have a problem with Villard.
Yeah, he's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I feel like Alex didn't have a problem with Villard. Isn't that right, Alex?
Yeah,
you're on your own.
I think by this point, I feel like everything is just a smidge too resilient, including this invader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on your build, I can see him being being tougher or not tough. He's good practice for fighting these guys on the stairs that you're going to have to fight.
Yeah, because he's one
soon.
of them. Yeah.
I think that's why, because I died to the ones on the stairs first before I found this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the stand that the petrified egg is sitting on is one of my favorite props in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool looking.
It's like a tangle of metal. It's a nest for it.
Yeah, that's great. This dragon egg, which has that significance in the backstory that is kind of alluded to in that fresco, mechanically is very weird because you just give it to what is his name?
Magarold.
Magarold. It's me, Magarold. You give it to Magarold, and he lets you into the Dragon Covenant, which has no story significance or anything.
Right.
Point. Like, it's just like, here's this priceless artifact that everything is hinting, was revered by civilizations. You can have it if you want it, buddy, because you collect curiosities.
Just go out on the Iron Keep Bridge and just go fight people for 30 matches.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the most out there theories I've read was talking about how Magarold was Aldia, and then that's why he wanted this egg. But that makes no fucking sense. That's dumb. It's not dumb. I mean, we make dumb theories all the time.
Yeah.
It is. I'm
in my late teens, early 20s. Obviously, Aldia.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's Aldia. You're just seeing Aldia everywhere. It's narratively insignificant. This egg, while moving forward, like forward narratively in the backstory, it's very important.
Yeah.
But there's what you do with it mechanically has no bearing and is a little bit disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, so tell me if I'm wrong, but the fact that it's petrified doesn't necessarily mean that it is lifeless because these are the stone dragons, right?
Yeah, or just Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah.
Like, or they're just gonna, get a
mix it with some basilisk DNA to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just said something totally possible.
Yeah,
plausible, really.
I'm just disappointed. Like, the first thing I tried to do was to see if I could use the fragrant branch of yore on it, just any one of those, and no.
That would that'd be the rule.
Yeah,
but yeah. But you make your way through here. You're getting some more treasures and stuff, and eventually you get to you get to the stair set, which is guarded by that infinite stamina like knight who can move, cancel, and just fuck your shit up, which is a nightmare for speedrunning and making this boss run if you decide to do that. Which I'm going to go on the record as recommending you don't.
Yeah.
But you go through this like kind of nightmare stair set that is like the only thing I appreciate about it.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, the thing I appreciate about it is that, like, I had to slow down and be super tactical about it. Like, I need to like try to figure out these guys' leash ranges and aggro ranges and like make tactical retreats and stuff, and to go back into the hallway to heal and stuff like that. Like, I liked how much I had to slow down until I had to do it more than once.
Yep.
And again, that's the Dark Souls thing. It's like, I can really appreciate a difficult area that does something neat, and I think this does, and it's beautiful looking, and you just see this tower of enemies ahead of you, up these stairs. It looks really cool, and just having to do it more than once is what ruined it for me.
You know what it reminds me of?
This
1-3, actually. Like when you, like in that run up to where to where what's his name, King Allant, yes,
the pursuer is,
where the pursuer is, where they have like the garrison set
not
up.
Pursuer,
the penetrator. There we go.
Yeah, Jesus Christ,
they're very similar, actually.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, the penetrator.
Yeah.
It's just this stair set just makes like the Undead Crypt run up and the Sinner's Rise run up just look like Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Stair.
Like, yeah. It just and the thing that saves it for me is that it's an optional encounter at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We emphasize optional to everyone that's listening.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Yeah. We'll talk about it here in a moment because I got a lot to say about that. The fight, but you can, like, this is like you were just about to say, Kole. I'm sorry, but I almost just made a way for you to say what you're going to say, and then just said it for you like a real jerk.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
No,
please continue.
Did not give it a second thought. No, you can summon Vengarl and Melinda here.
Yeah, which is interesting. Vengarl is one of the more summonable dudes.
Yeah.
In this game. Are they? I've never noticed them there because I think I've never been human.
Neither
for this. Are they useful? Do you know? Or
I haven't done it. I'm going on secondhand information.
Okay. Yeah. No.
No, Alex. Yeah.
No, they are so not useful if you decide to do this fight. Because it doesn't matter if you have them, you will still die instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are they summonable for the fight, or are they at the bottom of the stairs to help you get to the fight?
I believe they're at the bottom of the stairs.
I know.
Go ahead.
I think I summoned Vengarl. Vengarl is right before the fight.
Okay.
But you have to have died to him already once to appear.
Okay. Oh, probably
So
to
like
activate
the fog
the
gate
door.
appears.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
What's behind this, what we've been dancing around, is the ancient dragon. Who you can you talk to him, and he has some interesting dialogue here that is like said into your head. Like it is not voiced.
Right.
Right. It's just I'm not misremembering that, am I?
No. Like it is. Yeah.
It's a subtitle.
Yeah, it's really cool.
He gives you like some. It's Colossus speak. Like it's Dorman. Yeah. And it's really interesting because it implies that he's unstuck in time. Like it says, "Hey, the murk shifts and stirs. Yet another stands before us." Yeah, and then he drops a very potent line that has resonance, at least throughout the the game that remains, which is for the curse of life is the curse of want, right? And talking about kind of peering into the fog in search of answers, and then that is the only hint that he gives you for the item that he hands over.
Yeah, which is the Ashen Mist Heart, which is what we're going to use to go into memories and stuff to kind of finish. And again, it feels kind of optional, but it's still on the critical path, even though it feels a little bit optional.
Yeah,
there's all stuff you have to do because it's Dark Souls and because it's an enemy. You can try to attack it. And it's the worst boss fight I think in any of the Souls games. Like it is. It's even hard to say like what it's about. Like it is like I am not against any of the enemies having like an instant death attack. Like I'm okay with that for the most part, but because of those hitbox issues you mentioned before, and because of just the radius of it, and because of the fact that there's no bonfire outside, like the run up to it, it feels. This is I think it was like one time recently, Kole, where you're like, this is the first time the game feels cruel to you. Like this is the first time the game feels cruel to me.
Yeah,
like this boss fight feels sadistic in a way that isn't fun.
And the actual like way that the actual way to beat him isn't fun either. It's just tedious and boring.
He has so many hit points, and like if you figure it out, and which is going to take so much trial and error, because any error is trial and error, where every error requires a new trial. You can only make one error per trial.
It's trial and oh well.
Yeah, exactly. And once you figure it out, like it's pretty boring. Like it is not a fun fight.
Right.
Like no part of it is fun.
Because I don't know if you did this, but what I had to do was I got completely naked. I equipped the lightning greatsword you get from the Mirror Knight for weakness, whatever, and you have to like run at him right at the start of the fight and start attacking his toes as he breathes in front of you. And then you gotta back away at a 45-degree angle from that toe. So it then tricks his AI to constantly turn towards you and repeat that forward flame attack instead of jumping up into the air. And you just repeat that for 10 minutes.
Yeah, like once he does that forward flame or that jumping up in the air, like that's what will fuck you over.
Yeah.
Because the reality is of like doing a game where you have like the camera is behind your shoulder and doing attacks that require more peripheral vision than you have. Like if this was a Zelda game, like an old school Zelda game as opposed to a new one, you could do this because you would see where he flew up, you could see kind of what area it'd be, and you know exactly where you need to run without having to fiddle with the camera. Or do anything, but you can't run. You can't figure out where you need to be and also get there with enough time to do it. It doesn't work. Like it just doesn't work for the engine of the game, and it doesn't work for the capabilities of the player. There's tons of ways to cheese it. You used to be able to use Gower's Ring of Protection, which guarded against critical attacks, which include anything from the back. And you get hit by the fire and just fall over and take no damage. If you upgrade a Gurm Great Shield and infuse it with fire, it gets 100% fire resist and has enough stability to actually just block the flames. You can do that, which is ultimately what I ended up doing. Like, I've only beat this guy once, and I couldn't get him locked into that pattern that Alex was talking about. Yeah. So I ended up using the shield method.
Neither did I. I had to run away from him jumping up, and it was just it was literally a Scooby-Doo chase of holy fuck, oh god, no.
Yeah.
Running back to the door and just praying that it doesn't hit me.
Yeah, it is no fun.
Yeah. If it sounds like I'm being very quiet, it's because I've never managed to beat him. In fact, I've never managed to stay alive long enough with him to feel like I got my stride. Or even like to see like an inroad into it. I've watched YouTubes of it, but even that, because of the way he acts, it's really hard to like visually process what's happening mechanically. Like it just seems like this baffling wall. And seeing that he was optional, I was fine leaving him be, even before I understood kind of what the consequences of that are. Mm-hmm. And even still, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And what's frustrating is he is optional, but the significance of there's a little bit of mechanical significance in what he drops. Because what's interesting is he does not give you a giant soul. Mm-hmm. He gives you the soul or he does not give you a dragon soul, rather. He gives you the soul of a giant, which has a mechanical benefit that we'll talk about next episode. We're doing our loose ends. But also, it is not our next regular episode. Mm-hmm. Hint, hint, hint. Yeah. But it also is interesting from a lore perspective. Like, we know that Aldia has been experimenting with giants and dragons. Mm-hmm. There's a gigantic dragon that drops a soul of a giant. Like, at the very least, 100% says there's something going on. Yeah. And what it could be a couple of different things, like some kind of simulacrum.
Mm-hmm. Especially like what he tells you, and like the main thing that I took from what he tells you is like the Merc shifts and stirs, yet another stands before us, not just me, us. So it's obvious that there's more than one being inside of that dragon, maybe, most likely.
Yeah. Or I mean, it also could just be like, a royal us of it being, having the haughty mystic speak, but it very well could be like it's literally a giant and a dragon stuck in there, or it's some kind of broken minded thing because of the science.
That's what I mean. I just get that. I just get that because it's like what he drops isn't a dragon soul; it's a giant soul. Yeah, and then you see it just all the dots connect if you like think back to like the room with all the dead giants in the keep, and it just all leads up to this. Mm-hmm. And just putting critical thinking hats on, it's just
yeah.
This might be Aldia.
Yeah. It's the bone. It is the body of a dragon and a soul of a giant that he leaves behind. That is the only evidence that we have to go on.
Yeah, a heart, bone, and soul. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for these areas. It makes sense. This could be Aldia. It could just be an Aldia creation of some kind as well. Don't know exactly what it is. Weirdly not touched on again. You never have to go back to this guy. He never gives you new dialogue or anything like that. Next time we are doing another special episode. Again, as we mentioned, we are trickling these out. Mm-hmm. As we move on in the season. So our next episode is going to be our PvP episode. And for our guest, we have from YouTube, Mr. I Won't Forget. I've mentioned him a few times on the show, but if you're not familiar, he does a really awesome thing where he's going through and he kind of does these build weapon showcases. So whenever I'm thinking like, oh, I don't have a build right now for this cool weapon that looks neat, though I wonder if it's any good. This guy answers that. And the videos are entertaining and super, well thought out as far as like that kind of minute professional level PvP play that if you've listened to me and Kole for any length of time, you know that we don't have at all.
I'm very excited about that. Like these specials where we get somebody who really knows what they're talking about. In stark contrast to us, sometimes it feels very edifying.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, we're going to try to get some PvP experience. It's going to be a little bit harder than the Dark Souls 1 season because of the way that most of the PvP kind of happens in New Game Plus. But we're going to spend some time trying to get some PvP. We welcome PvP stories for it, from you guys. And, we're going to do kind of similar thing we did with Jeremy last season where it's like, specific areas, specific weapons, etc. And we want to talk a lot about how PvP has changed in Dark Souls 2 because it has changed so much.
Yeah.
But for this episode, though, thank you again, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate it.
Tell us where they can find you.
Let me quickly bring up the URL. Because
geocities.blighttown /Ashenheart /fake news.
You can only access it using Windows 98 and Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
It is theblighttownbeacon.tumblr.com.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you on Twitter or anything like that?
I don't even know my Twitter name. Jesus.
Oh, it's no pressure. Like if you don't use it or don't, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, I use it all the time. It's just I'm constantly changing the name of it. So as of right now, my Twitter is my Twitter right now is at Alex_Euphioike. That's EUPHIO, and then my last name, which is EICH.
Cool.
Cool.
So yeah.
Oh, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
By way of admin, again, we still have more to record. This has been a long episode. If you have those PvP stories, or if you have questions or contributions about the next area we're going to talk about, which is going to be the various memories that you go back into, and the Pilgrims of the Dark Covenant, and the Vendrick fight, hit us up at Duckfeed.tv /contact.
Yeah. You can also watch our Facebook page. There's some cool stuff that happens there. That is facebook.com/bonfiresidechat.
Yep. If you're hearing this, you are exactly 1 week away from where Kole and I are appearing at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Not for this show, even though there was like some like Vadi, it wasn't a hint of it, but like Vadi was joking about doing a Souls Con, and I, like on Twitter was like, do that and let us be part of it. In a real undignified way. But this is for Watch Out for Fireballs, our Retro Video Games Expo. But if you're in the Pacific Northwest, head to Portland, Oregon on Sunday, is it the 18th?
The 19th?
The 19th.
Yes.
We are doing a live show about Street Fighter 2. We go on at 2:30. And the whole expo is a good time. We're going to be there. Come hang out with us, have some drinks, and meet us.
Kick my ass at Street Fighter.
Yeah, and probably kick my ass at too. I was trying to be real good at this, and I'm not. But we'd love to meet you if you listen to the show.
Yeah. And let's cut the admin short a little bit. Duckfeed.tv is your source for all things us and, video games and comedy and stuff. We would appreciate it if you checked out the other shows and the other offerings there.
Yeah, indeed. And until next time, what can they do?
They can seek misery, lest this land sunder them whole.
Umbasa.
And they can also seriously I seriously would love a Souls Con. Can we please get that going?
I don't know who we're talking to. Like, I would love that too, but I don't know who to talk to about it. Like, it's one of those things where if you be the change you want to see in the world, but I just don't have the ability or knowledge to put together a Souls Con. But like, I would buy a ticket.
Well, do you have a ball pit?
Yeah. I don't. That's the reason why I can't do it. Yeah. As long as you don't have a ball pit. Like, we will fuck over the guys from Nightville if you let us do it.
Why are they even invited?
Huh? Just so we can screw them, because that's what those other guys did.
Yeah. The Tumblr, the Dashcon guys? Yeah.
So somebody seriously do like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo for SoulsCon.
Yeah.
Who's not super busy doing other shows and running like 17 different shows on a network.
Yeah. And who isn't just like constantly on the verge of exhaustion.
Yeah, because that would be amazing, and I would love to do a live on Fireside Chat.
Yeah.
But anywho,
all right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon